if you can understand what it is about the diet, about the lifestyle that's so important, you could actually take that woman in San Francisco and reduce her risk of breast cancer by a third.
Meet Dr. Jason Fung, a Canadian nephrologist and a well-known expert on weight loss strategies. His innovative study has changed the way many people think about metabolic illnesses. Dr. Fung's research and writings explore the link between nutrition, metabolism, and chronic diseases, including cancer. He emphasizes the significance of insulin and glucose in fueling cancer cells, a hypothesis based on the Warburg effect, which states that cancer cells thrive on glucose for energy. Dr. Fung's studies on fasting and metabolic management have opened up new possibilities for studying cancer prevention and treatment through dietary therapies. In this video, we will highlight the 5 worst foods that feed cancer cells, as studied and recommended by Dr. Jason Fung. Excluding these foods from our diet can potentially decrease the risk of cancer and give us an additional line of defense against this chronic disease. This underscores the importance and effects of diet on our overall health. And that's just the beginning. By the end of the video, we will also share Dr. Fung's secret and unique strategy for reducing the risk of cancer. So stay tuned with us until the end. But before exploring the worst foods that feed cancer cells, let's hear what Dr. Fung has to say about what causes cancer.
In the 90s, so I went to medical school in the 90s, we talked about cancer, and people had this idea that it was this genetic disease. It was actually not until 2003 when the first kind of convincing evidence came out that, hey, cancer is an obesity-related disease. And it turns out that it was a huge part of cancer. That is, if you look at the causes of cancers.
Dr. Jason Fung highlights that cancer is closely linked to obesity, a connection often overlooked in mainstream health discussions. Excess body fat, particularly visceral fat, creates a pro-inflammatory environment in the body, fostering conditions that encourage cancer development, including breast, colon, and liver cancer. Obesity also alters the body's hormone balance, leading to higher levels of estrogen, which provides fertile ground for cancer cells to grow.
That insulin is a major growth factor as well. And that is the link to a lot of these cancers. So breast cancer and colorectal cancer being the 2 most prominent obesity-related cancers, but also pancreatic and liver and so on. So hyperinsulinemia turns out to play a sort of huge role in those as well, and that's sort of linked through several different growth-stimulating mechanisms.
Obesity often leads to insulin resistance, where the body produces more insulin to manage blood sugar, feeding the cancer cells even more. Insulin, a hormone responsible for regulating blood sugar, can act as a growth promoter when present at high levels, leading to the rapid growth of cancer cells. Dr. Fung explains that cancer cells thrive on glucose through the Warburg effect, a phenomenon where cancer cells consume sugar at a much faster rate than normal cells. This dependency on glucose makes elevated insulin levels a dangerous contributor to cancer.
So it really depends on what type of cancer you're talking. Like if you're talking lung cancer, obesity plays almost no role in it, right? That's smoking. Or if you have asbestos, which causes mesothelioma, which is a cancer of the lining of the lung, again, obesity plays no role. But things like breast cancer and colorectal cancer, which are sort of really important cancers.
But remember, while diet modifications can prove to be helpful in protection from cancer, they cannot be termed as an alternative to medical procedures. So, you must refer to your doctor for a personalized approach before making any changes to your diet plan. Saying this, let's explore the 5 worst foods that can fuel cancer cells in our bodies.
One of the things that wound up adding was the sugar. You don't put sugar on eggs, for example. You don't put sugar on your sausages, for example, but you will do that on your oatmeal, for example, or your cereal or other things like that. And the sugar is very dangerous to weight gain.
Sugar is the first and most discussed food by Dr. Jason Fung in the development and progression of cancer, underlining it as one of the worst foods for cancer patients and those aiming to prevent the disease. While normal cells can switch between using fats, proteins, and carbohydrates for fuel, cancer cells are heavily dependent on glucose. According to Dr. Fung, this glucose addiction makes sugar one of the most dangerous substances for cancer patients, as it directly feeds the growth of cancer cells. And it's not only glucose, the relationship between sugar and cancer is further amplified by the fact that consuming sugar spikes insulin levels. Insulin is not just a hormone that controls blood sugar, it also acts as a growth factor for cells. Elevated insulin levels, common in people with insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes, have been associated with increased cancer risk. Dr. Fung points out that high insulin promotes the growth of cancer cells in the same way it promotes the growth of normal cells. This could be the reason why people with obesity, diabetes, or insulin resistance have a higher incidence of cancers such as breast, colon, and pancreatic cancer. Statistical data supports this alarming connection between sugar and cancer. A large-scale study published in The Lancet found that obese individuals were up to 50% more likely to develop cancer than those of normal weight, and much of this risk is driven by insulin and glucose metabolism.
Probably one of the very, very important things that we really need to lower, because that really supports it, and it gets to how cancer develops.
For those looking to cut sugar from their diets, there are healthier alternatives that can satisfy cravings without promoting cancer growth. Stevia and monk fruit are popular sugar substitutes that don't raise insulin levels and have a low glycemic index. These natural sweeteners provide the sweetness of sugar without the harmful impact on insulin and glucose metabolism. Similar to sugar, carbohydrates are some of the worst foods for cancer due to their direct impact on glucose and insulin levels. Refined carbohydrates are stripped of fiber, vitamins, and minerals during processing, leaving behind simple starches that quickly break down into glucose in the body. This rapid conversion leads to spikes in blood sugar and insulin, creating a perfect environment for cancer cells to thrive. Refined carbohydrates, which cause glucose levels to surge, serve as a direct fuel source for these cells, promoting their growth and proliferation.
Highly refined carbohydrates are going to spike up your glucose, which is going to spike up your insulin. And then, because the high insulin just takes all that energy and sucks it into storage, there's no energy left for you.
And this is not all. Dr. Fung explains that the frequent consumption of refined carbs, such as white bread, pasta, and processed snacks, promotes insulin resistance. As insulin levels remain elevated, the body's cells become less responsive to it, requiring more insulin to manage blood sugar levels. This constant overstimulation of insulin has been shown to increase the risk of various cancers, including breast, colon, and endometrial cancer. Moving ahead, we face another risk factor: obesity. Obesity, driven largely by overconsumption of refined carbs and sugar, leads to chronic inflammation and hormonal imbalances, both of which are linked to increased cancer risk. Dr. Fung notes that managing insulin resistance through dietary changes is crucial for both weight control and cancer prevention. To stay healthy, focus on whole, nutrient-dense foods instead of refined carbohydrates that don't spike blood sugar or insulin. Replacing refined carbs with healthy fats, such as avocados, olive oil, and nuts, can help stabilize blood sugar and reduce insulin levels. Whole grains, legumes, and vegetables with low glycemic indices are better alternatives as they digest more slowly, providing a steady source of energy without feeding cancer cells. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. If you find our videos helpful, please support us by dropping your comments in the comments section. Now, let's move forward and discuss our next risk factor. High glycemic foods are among the worst contributors to cancer growth, as they significantly raise blood sugar levels. According to Dr. Fung, this process creates a metabolic environment that is highly favorable for cancer cell proliferation. High glycemic foods such as white bread, sugary cereals, pastries, and processed snacks cause rapid glucose absorption in the bloodstream. Cancer cells, which rely heavily on glucose for energy, thrive in such an environment.
Every time you are eating, you're stimulating your insulin, which is giving growth signals to the cells, including the cancer cells, which love insulin. You look at a breast cancer cell, for example, has like 5 or 6 times the number of insulin receptors compared to a normal breast cell. They love this stuff. They love insulin, they love glucose. So therefore, you want to lower it. So eating sort of whole, unprocessed foods is important. That's probably the most important thing.
Dr. Fung's primary concern with high glycemic foods is their effect on insulin, a hormone that regulates blood sugar. Elevated insulin levels stimulate the growth of cells, including cancer cells. Over time, consistently high insulin levels, driven by frequent consumption of high glycemic foods, lead to insulin resistance, where the body's cells become less responsive to insulin. As a result, the pancreas produces even more insulin to compensate. This cycle creates an environment where cancer cells, already thriving on glucose, are fed an abundance of insulin and sugar, accelerating their growth. Dr. Fung believes that insulin acts like a fertilizer for cancer, promoting its spread and making high glycemic foods particularly dangerous. But you should not worry and adopt suitable alternatives to high glycemic foods, including whole grains like quinoa and oats, which release glucose slowly. Vegetables like broccoli, spinach, and kale are also low glycemic and rich in cancer-fighting nutrients. Healthy fats such as avocados, nuts, and seeds can replace high glycemic snacks, providing sustained energy without spiking blood sugar. By adopting a low glycemic, nutrient-rich diet, individuals can lower their insulin levels and potentially reduce the risk of cancer. Next on our list are processed proteins, and they are really bad for our health.
There's a big difference between bologna and, grass-finished beef sort of thing. There's a huge difference because one is jam-packed full of chemicals and other crap, and one is just beef, right? And people have been eating beef for thousands of years.
Processed meats, like sausages, bacon, and deli meats, are not only high in unhealthy fats, but also contain harmful additives, such as nitrates and nitrites, which have been linked to an increased risk of cancer. According to Dr. Fung, the consumption of these processed proteins drives inflammation, disrupts the body's natural metabolic balance, and encourages the growth of cancerous cells. The key issue lies in the processing methods used, which introduce carcinogenic compounds that fuel cancer development. One significant concern is the formation of nitrosamines, compounds formed when nitrates interact with proteins under high temperatures, such as during grilling or frying. Nitrosamines have been identified as potent carcinogens that damage DNA and contribute to cancerous mutations. The World Health Organization, WHO, has classified processed meats as Group 1 carcinogens, meaning there is strong evidence to suggest they cause cancer. A 2015 report by the WHO found that eating just 50 grams of processed meat per day, equivalent to about 2 slices of bacon, increases the risk of colorectal cancer by 18%. This alarming statistic highlights the significant cancer risk posed by even moderate consumption of processed proteins. More to this, the American Institute for Cancer Research has pointed out that high consumption of processed meats is associated with an increased risk of stomach cancer, particularly due to the high salt and preservative content. These findings align with Dr. Fung's theory that the long-term intake of processed proteins accelerates the growth of cancer cells. Do you know that processed proteins also pose significant cancer risk through the process of glycation, where sugars bind to proteins and fats, creating harmful compounds known as advanced glycation end products? They contribute to oxidative stress and inflammation, both of which are known to drive cancer growth. Processed meats are particularly high in glycan end products due to their preparation methods, such as smoking and grilling at high temperatures. What is the way out then? Grass-fed meats, wild-caught fish, organic poultry, and plant-based proteins such as legumes and nuts. These natural proteins are free from harmful additives, are less likely to spike insulin levels, and do not contain the carcinogenic compounds found in processed meats. Our last cancer ally comes out to be processed fats. Processed fats, especially omega-6 polyunsaturated fats, can trigger inflammation in the body, which is a key factor in cancer development. Chronic inflammation creates an environment that allows cancer cells to thrive and spread.
In 1989, they had already were having evidence that eating a lot of these vegetable oils was actually very, very harmful. And a reanalysis by Ramsden in 2013 showed the same thing. If you actually look at all the polyunsaturated fatty acid studies and then break them down according to whether or not they contain omega-3s or omega-6s, because both are polyunsaturated, what you find in the top part there is that if you look at studies that primarily increase omega-6 fatty acids, so vegetable oils, you have an increased mortality.
One of the significant issues with processed fats is their high level of oxidation, especially when heated during processing or cooking. Oxidized fats produce harmful compounds called free radicals, which can damage cells and DNA, increasing the risk of mutations that lead to cancer. Research has found that diets high in omega-6 fats are associated with an increased risk of several cancers, including breast, prostate, and colon cancer. Dr. Fung also points to the imbalance between omega-6 and omega-3 fats in the modern diet as a major problem. Traditionally, human diets had a balanced ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fats, typically between 1:1 and 4:1. However, with the widespread use of processed vegetable oils, the ratio in many Western diets has shifted to 15:1 or even 20:1, favoring omega-6 fats. This imbalance is linked to higher rates of inflammation and, consequently, cancer development. Adding to this imbalance, the consumption of processed fats contributes to insulin resistance and disrupts cellular metabolism, a concept often referred to as metabolic dysfunction, which is believed to create an ideal environment for cancer cells to proliferate. To help reduce your cancer risk, Dr. Fung advocates replacing processed fats with healthier alternatives. These include extra virgin olive oil is rich in monounsaturated fats. Olive oil has been shown to reduce inflammation and protect against several cancers, including breast and colon cancer. Avocado oil, high in heart-healthy fats and antioxidants. Avocados and their oil are excellent for lowering inflammation and supporting cellular health. Finally, let's explore Dr. Fung's secret strategies that can potentially help us fight and prevent various diseases like cancer. One of his primary recommendations is to undergo ketosis. According to Dr. Fung, the ketogenic diet, which is high in fats and extremely low in carbohydrates, forces the body to enter a state of ketosis, where it burns fat for energy instead of glucose. This results in lower insulin levels, as carbohydrates and sugars are the main triggers for insulin release.
Cheese, full-fat milk, it does not lead to an increased risk of heart disease, but could protect you against something like diabetes, which does raise your risk of heart disease. And that's why the ketogenic diet has been favored by some physicians.
Complementing the ketogenic diet, Dr. Fung's main strategy is known as intermittent fasting. This fasting gives the body extended periods without food, further reducing insulin levels. Dr. Fung argues that fasting triggers autophagy, a process in which the body cleans out damaged cells and regenerates healthier ones, which can help reduce the risk of cancer. He explains that fasting also depletes the body's glucose stores, making it difficult for cancer cells, which depend on glucose for rapid growth, to thrive.
Now you have 14 different cancers which are defined as obesity-associated cancers. So therefore, fasting, if it helps with that, presumably is also going to lower your risk. And these include some of the most important cancers like breast cancer, colorectal cancer, for example, pancreatic cancer.
If you want to lose body fat, you actually need to extend the period of time that you're not eating. In other words, extend your fasting period and get rid of all the snacks.
Did you know that certain foods could really activate your body's fat-burning mode? According to Dr. Jason Fung, you can easily burn fat and heal your body inside out without spending hours at the gym. These 6 foods paired with intermittent fasting can truly transform your weight loss journey. So without any further ado, let's get started. But before we delve into those foods, let's first understand autophagy and fasted state. Autophagy is a process of self-devouring in which your body begins to break down old cell parts, or entire cells, to recycle them into new parts. This is an important mechanism that aids in the maintenance of cellular homeostasis by clearing the damaged organelles, misfolded proteins, and other cellular debris.
What is autophagy? The 2016 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine was awarded to Dr. Yoshinari Osumi for his discoveries on autophagy. The word derives from the Greek auto, meaning self, and phagein, meaning to eat. The word literally means eating yourself. It's the body's mechanism of getting rid of all the broken down old cellular machinery, such as the organelles, the proteins, and the cell membrane, when there's no longer needed or they're not functioning well.
The human body goes into autophagy when there is no calorie intake for at least 16 to 18 hours. When you fast and stay away from eating, your body doesn't have any more glucose, and therefore it begins to burn fat for energy. Autophagy has been associated with many physiological processes like development, differentiation, and immune responses. On the other hand, it is also linked with many chronic diseases. An imbalance of autophagy can lead to conditions like neurodegenerative disorders like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's diseases, cancer, and infections. Conversely, autophagy has multiple benefits, including boosting anti-aging and longevity, lowering inflammation and anti-cancer effects, promoting cardiovascular health, and protecting against neurodegenerative diseases. Some research studies have shown that autophagy can increase lipophagy, which involves the breakdown of fat droplets. So it proves that autophagy is also beneficial when it comes to burning body fat. So what is the fasted state? A fasted state is a condition of the body where it hasn't received any food or caloric beverages for an extended period of around 8 to 12 hours. This condition leads to decreased insulin levels and, ultimately, the mobilization and use of the stored energy, specifically from the fat storage.
When to eat and when not to eat. So remember, when you're eating, your body is going to want to store calories. And one of the ways that the body stores calories is as body fat. When you're not eating or when you're fasting, your body wants to use those calories. It takes the calories from storage and uses them so that you have a source of energy. That's why you don't die in your sleep every single night.
During a fasted state, the body transitions from utilizing glucose as the main source, which is derived from carbohydrates, to using fatty acids and ketone bodies. This development supports the breakdown of stored fat into fatty acids, which end up turning into ketones to supercharge many cellular processes. This process is known as ketosis, which boosts energy levels as well as mental clarity while triggering fat loss. Fasting is shown to have various health benefits, which include boosted metabolic health, lowered inflammation, and increased autophagy. Intermittent fasting is a traditional and popular dietary approach that leverages the fasted state by alternating between the fasting and eating windows, promoting both weight loss and overall well-being. How can one start fasting? Let's discuss it too. Fasting can be achieved through different methods depending on your lifestyle and aims. The most common method is intermittent fasting, which is all about rotating between fasting and eating windows. You can choose between 3 types of IF. Number 1 is the 16-8 method, in which you fast for 16 hours with an 8-hour eating window. Another one is the 5-2 method, which involves 5 days of eating while consuming 500 to 600 calories on 2 non-consecutive days. Eat Stop Eat is the third and last IF method, in which you fast for 24 hours once or twice a week.
A fasting period is defined as any period of time that you're not eating. So in the classic definition, you're really only allowed water. And if you take anything else, by definition, that is breaking your fast. However, when we do fasting, there can be lots of different reasons. You can try.
Aside from intermittent fasting, you can also opt for time-restricted feeding. It works like intermittent fasting. However, the fasting window is usually bigger, such as fasting for 14 to 16 hours, and the eating window remains within 8 to 10 hours. Alternate day fasting is another type of fasting. This type follows a whole day or partial fasting every other day. Partial fasting can be achieved by consuming as little as 500 calories. The last type of fasting is extended fasting. It is extreme fasting where you fast for more than 24 hours, like 48 to 72 hours. Extended fasting should be observed under the supervision of a medical professional. If you choose to fast through any type of fasting method, the following tips can be beneficial for you. Start by staying hydrated by drinking water, herbal tea, or other non-caloric drinks. Make sure to begin with small fasting windows and gradually expand the duration. Lastly, if you feel excessively tired, unwell, or dizzy, break the fast immediately and reach out to a healthcare professional. It is important to note that fasting isn't for everyone. Ensure to consult with a healthcare professional before indulging yourself in a fasting regimen, especially if you already struggle with any medical conditions or are pregnant or nursing. Now let's talk about the foods you can consume during the fasting period, which can help you lose weight and fat and heal your body from the inside out. The number one food or drink on this list is green tea. Green tea is considered a vital companion during fasting and for promoting autophagy. This tea is packed with antioxidants and catechins like epigallocatechin, galate EGCG, which improves the health benefits of fasting. When green tea is consumed during the fasting period, it aids in the suppression of appetite. This makes it easier for you to complete the fasting period effortlessly without feeling overly hungry or tired.
There's green teas, there's black teas, and there's herbal teas. Herbal teas are not true teas, but they're things such as mint leaves or hibiscus or chamomile, for example. So green teas are from the unfermented tea leaves, and black teas are fully fermented. Both of them are great during fasting, and they're not going to affect you in terms of weight loss.
Green tea also improves metabolism as well as fat oxidation, which supports weight loss and metabolic health. The caffeine present in the green tea gives you a quick energy boost. Additionally, this tea also supercharges the process of autophagy, leading to the removal of damaged old cells and the regeneration of new ones. Autophagy is vital for conserving cellular health, lowering inflammation, and safeguarding the body against various chronic diseases. In addition to this, autophagy can also help with the weight loss and burning of excessive body fat. But before we continue, this content is provided for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider with any questions about your health or a medical condition. The second beverage on this list is coffee. Coffee without the addition of sugar and sweeteners can be the best tool in weight loss and promoting autophagy. Black coffee is a low-calorie drink that is rich in antioxidants like chlorogenic acid, which helps with the promotion of metabolism and fat burning. Caffeine, present in coffee, boosts physical performance and accelerates the process of fat burning. This leads to the release of fatty acids in the bloodstream, which is used as energy.
Coffee. So black coffees are good, and it contains a lot more caffeine than teas. So some people find it very useful, and also a lot of people are very addicted to or used to having coffee in their system.
Coffee can make a great companion during the fasting periods, as it can help suppress appetite while reducing hunger and exhaustion. You can drink it to increase your energy levels and alertness in your brain. According to a research study published in the Cell Cycle Journal, the polyphenols in coffee can stimulate autophagy. The results of this study concluded that both natural and decaffeinated brands of coffee can trigger autophagy. The next food on this list is grass-fed meats. Grass-fed meats are packed with vital nutrients, which include high-quality protein, omega-3 fatty acids, vitamins, and minerals. These nutrients promote overall health and fulfill the requirements of protein. Dr. Jason Fung recommends incorporating 20 to 30% of protein into your diet, as protein is important for the human body. He says, isolated protein is hard to find in whole food forms, and therefore many people turn to artificial substitutes like protein powder. In this regard, one can choose grass-fed meats, wild-caught seafood, and whole vegetable proteins.
Protein is really important to help rebuild your body. Your body needs protein. So there are certain amino acids, which are the breakdown products, of protein that we need. If we don't get it, we're not going to be healthy. So it's very important that we get enough protein. Protein also increases the satiety. That is, when you eat foods that are high in protein, you tend to feel more full. Just like if you were to eat eggs and bacon in the morning.
In addition to this, grass-fed meats contain conjugated linoleic acid, CLA, which is shown to have positive effects on weight and fat loss. This high-quality meat is also beneficial when it comes to inflammation. The omega-3 fatty acids in this meat lower the inflammation in the body while supporting overall health. The fourth food on this list is avocados. Avocados are both beneficial for fasting and supporting autophagy. These fruits are loaded with healthy monounsaturated fats, which readily provide the energy your body needs during fasting. By consuming avocados, you can dodge the hunger and stay energized throughout the day. Incorporating avocados into your daily routine can boost your metabolic health by providing your body with nutrients like vitamins E, K, potassium, and B vitamins. The healthy fats in avocados also aid in the stabilization of blood sugar levels and prevent the overproduction of insulin. This ultimately burns the body fat. Avocados are also great and powerful for autophagy and longevity. By lowering inflammation and maintaining cellular health, avocados help in the activation of autophagy. The next food is bone broth. Bone broth is a nutrient-dense liquid that is made by stewing animal bones and tissues. This liquid packs vital minerals like phosphorus, magnesium, calcium, and potassium, alongside gelatin, collagen, and amino acids like glycine and proline. These nutrients are important for autophagy, fasting, and fat loss.
Bone broth is clearly a type of food in that it has proteins, often it has fats, and also some calories. However, the amount is very small. So while it's not a true fast, you can use it to help suppress the hunger. You can use it to go longer periods of time. And by doing that, you can sometimes get excellent results in terms of blood sugars and weight loss.
Bone broth is low in calories and high in protein, which helps you stay full for longer, lowering the chances of you overeating and gaining weight. The amino acids in the bone broth are especially important for healthy metabolic functions and maintaining a healthy weight. Before we continue, if you're eager to explore how your diet can reduce your cancer risk and enhance your overall health, don't miss out on our Vitazen Health newsletter. Sign up using the link below and get weekly updates packed with expert tips, mouth-watering recipes, and practical advice to help you live longer and feel amazing, all delivered straight to your inbox. The last food on this list is whole grains. Whole grains are a vital part of daily diet. Contrary to refined grains, whole grains are full of nutrients, as they include all parts of grain kernel like bran, germ, and endosperm. Some whole grains are oats, quinoa, brown rice, barley, whole wheat, and bulgur. The highlighted benefit of whole grains is their high fiber content. Fiber helps with digestion, bowel movements, and losing weight by keeping your stomach fuller for longer. In addition to this, whole grains provide vital nutrients that supercharge cellular repair and enhance the function of autophagy. Together with intermittent fasting, these 6 foods and beverages can help you burn body fat and maintain a healthy body weight. Autophagy is considered an important bodily process for both fat and weight loss. These foods play a vital role in activating and enhancing the efficiency of autophagy.
Well, they'll have like a 24-hour fast, right? One day that you're not supposed to eat or something like that. And maybe that's the way to cleanse your body, not just of the glucose and the fat, but also the excess proteins that are old, they're junky. I mean, you think about renovating your bathroom or something like that, right? The first thing you got to do, you got to throw out the 1970s tub and the avocado green toilet. That's the first thing you got to do. You got to get rid of it. You got to break down before you can rebuild better. Well, autophagy might be that way to break down some of the stuff that you actually can't break down any other way.
That is it. If you liked watching this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Would you like to try intermittent fasting? Share your thoughts in the comments below.